In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good morning, everyone. As I've told you before, little flock, the months of November and December are crunch time for us in terms of getting our house in order, financially speaking. Now, historically speaking, year after year, generation after generation, we have somehow managed, with God's grace, to pull through and establish ourselves in these last 2 months, November and December, rallying, so to speak, to overcome the tepid giving during the summer months, as well as the early months of fall in September and October, where traditionally things seem to look bleak. But again, somehow, November and December, we find a way to pull through, especially last year, where we completely blew the budget out of the water, as they say, breaking all-time records of stewardship in the proud history of this community. We had so much momentum, it seems to me, before COVID hit. Now, traditionally, I reserve a few of the Sundays of November and December to hear from you. Over the years, I've asked a number of you, including our Goyans, to talk about what the church means to you and what stewardship means to you. In fact, just last week, we heard from our delightful stewardship chairman, Angela Georgelis, who gave one of the most effective and professional talks I've ever heard on the subject. But today I wanted to take on this mantle myself and point out to you some of the unseen heroes from unexpected sources regarding stewardship for our community in this particular year of 2020. In a fanciful way, it reminds me of today's gospel lesson, the parable, Christ's famous parable of the Good Samaritan. And I want you to look at this parable with me today in a way that can perhaps fit our current situation in our community right now. Let's say that the man that was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho was personified by this very community, this church, Mother Church. Let's say she was the one that was traveling down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and she fell among robbers. And let's say the robbers that beat her and stripped her and left her half dead was the coronavirus. And furthermore, let's say that the priest and the Levite that were going down that road that are personified by the traditional sources that we count on to receive what we need to function. The weekly trays, the collection trays every week, bringing in, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. The candle sales, more thousands of dollars. These would be the priest and the Levite that would come by. Oh, we were hoping that the priest and the Levite, they'll help us. But there's no help. The Holy Week offerings, thousands of dollars. The festival, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But in 2020, all these things, just like the priest and the Levite, passed by on the other side. Antiparilthen. But then you have the Samaritan, the foreigner, the outsider, someone outside the community. Stop and have compassion and take care and bring restoration. Today I want to specifically point out some of those Samaritans, the others outside the community who have shown compassion and stewardship to our Mother Church. Let me begin with the 2 young men that walk among us like angels. coming to us virtually out of nowhere. Stephen Lazarus and Tony Curry. They come to serve in our tiny altar from afar. The altar that used to be full with altar boys and the deacon, and nobody's here. During these peculiar days, these quiet, pious, and obedient young men, whose only desire is to draw near to the Lord through service to the community and to its priest. Then I looked to the rafters on high, the place where we used to receive help from our sonorous choir, but they're not there. But there is ministry there when I look on high. The faces of those people on our AV team, out of nowhere. Offering their expertise and their time, scheduling themselves day and night, fighting through fatigue, traffic, sacrificing personal time, family time, and making sure that every service we do reaches your homes. The extra mile. Gentlemen, thank you not only for your dependability, but your capability as well. And there are others outside of the community, more unexpected stewards who faithfully tune into our broadcast from all over America and beyond. Chris, a cattle rancher in Nevada. Constantine, a Greek in Mexico. George in New Jersey, Pauline in Ohio. It goes on and on. Not to mention the friends that I made in my former parish, my former flock in Memphis, Tennessee. I stand amazed at all these outsiders, foreigners, offering their goodwill, their stewardship, their class to our community. You know, there's one final outsider that I want to acknowledge today, but before I do, I want to tell you that His Eminence Archbishop Elpidoforos of America has just declared that the Sunday of the Good Samaritan is National Philoptochos Sunday. He just declared that about a week ago or so, in recognition of their decades of good works. You know, COVID can take away our weekly passing of trays. It can take away our candle offerings and sales. It can take away our festival, all the traditional sources of our help. But it will take a lot more than a global pandemic to stop the army of nobility that we call the Ladies Philoptochos. And that holiday bake sale marches on. A lady saw a need for leadership in that position. And without calculation, without any other thought, she filled that need. And the bake sale marches on. Well, let me conclude this theme of help from unexpected sources from one of the most Orthodox souls I've ever met. The one who flanks me on my right side over here. Chelsea, I don't know what I'm going to do with that name of yours. I've never heard of a Saint Chelsea. But in case you ever decide to convert to the ancient apostolic faith, I already have a name picked out for you. Chariklia, whose name means to cry out with joy, which is what you do. You know, we hired this girl to lead the choir on Sundays. That was it. And it was a vulnerable position for her. And I'll tell you why. it was vulnerable from the get-go because right off the bat, she was following one of the most popular and one of the best choir directors in the entire archdiocese, Elia Nicholas. But she has done so beautifully and admirably and capably. Now with COVID, with the choir shut down, another vulnerability. And with Rob leaving, one of the best chanters in the entire metropolis, we were in a bind. And I turned to Chelsea. Father, I'll do whatever you want. In fact, at one point, when she first got here, and I was not all that, I was sort of new, I guess. It takes me a while to get names and faces and everything. And I swear I thought she was Leslie Dumbalis. And so we just hired her to do the choir. And so I went to her and I said, listen, you got to do the children too. You got to do the joy and the hope. And she's okay, And I said, you are Leslie, aren't you? She goes, no. I go, oh my goodness. So I've got to show you a picture of Leslie and Chelsea next to each other, and you'll see why I thought what I thought. But anyway, she was going to do that, but it's crazy. But she said, Father, I'll do whatever you want me to do. But I said, Chelsea, you don't understand. Chanting is different from choir music. You'll have to learn a whole new set of skills. Not to mention there are weekly services, weddings, funerals, paracleses, vespers, new hymns, new music, new tones, new rubrics. We're not just talking Sundays anymore. Amazingly, she has made herself available to virtually every service and has learned with remarkable skill and precision and uncommon beauty. People request her. She's learned the hymns, the tones, the language, all of which were foreign to her. And not only that, she has done so with a sweet, good-natured disposition, a cheerful giver, the extra mile. Thank you, Chelsea. And on behalf of the parish council and I have a little gift for you. There you go, sweet girl. Okay. Okay, Hariklia, God bless you. And thank you, my friends, all of you, every single one of you, because you have found ways to give that have at least put us in striking range of reaching our goal. So let's have a strong November and December. Do the best you can, and we'll make it through the grace of the Holy Spirit. God bless you all.